Alumni, students, and members of the Houston business community gathered for the final Distinguished Leaders Series of the fall semester at the CT Bauer College of Business on November 6th, where panelists from the energy industry discussed the future of electric power generation. Among the featured panelists were Chris Ross, Bauer Executive Professor of Finance, Berney Aucoin, Sequent Energy Management Vice President of Structure and Strategy, and J.D. Burrows, GDF Suez Energy Resources, N.A., Vice President of Marketing. Presented by AGL Resources and their Houston-based companies, the DLS serves as an opportunity for exploring topical issues in business, with an emphasis on the energy industry.
What's been proposed for the future? Well, the International Energy Agency is an offshoot of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development and is based in Paris. And they annually forecast the future of energy demand and supply. And what they want is to see more gas and more renewables in the Americas, and more gas and much more renewables in Europe. Looking forward, I think we've got some issues for discussion. The first one is, does affordable, reliable energy still matter? Or is there a superordinate goal? In fact, what we should be doing is aiming at maximum renewables, regardless of whether the energy coming out of it is affordable or reliable. And is natural gas a bridge, or is it actually the answer?
My portion of talking about power generation is primarily on the gas side, okay? Sequent and AGL are gas companies. We do see load growth, some load growth in the electricity sector, which the gas market should provide, supply for. We also are gonna have coal units retiring, okay? I mean, not only from environmental pressures, but these units have been around for a long time. And I think companies are seeing where it's economic for them just to shut them down. So there'll be a natural displacement of coal-fired units. But given all that, us gas folks aren't just thinking, it's gonna be easy. This is gonna be the end all for what's gonna basically consume all this supply we see out there. We do have what McKinsey calls clean generation build, which is really renewables and nuclear in there. Even though there are some nuclear retirements, there are some new nuclear units being planned. I'll show you a few of those. And as well as the price of gas, as the demand comes in with industrial growth, as Chris alluded to, and the potential for LNG exports, clearly demand is going to likely lift the price of gas. Thus, you should see more gas coming off the market, competing with, cheaper coal, okay? So the net of all those, we really don't see gas, for power consumption, maybe hitting the 2012 level until 2020. Now, there may be peaks and valleys in there, but on average, that's sort of generally a view. There's a little debate about that, but I don't think anyone is thinking that there'll be a tremendous, BCF per day, maybe 10 BCF a day of demand growth, like we should see in the industrial sector and in the LNG exports, which should be a large portion of where the demand's gonna eat into this oversupply. So a lot of the shale activity here in Texas and Eagle Ford, and even in other places, will make its way to be exported to Mexico. And as you can see here, given if gas continues to be priced where it is, and I think the long-term forecast of most folks is it should stay in this $4 kind of range, and if crude stays at the same levels it is, our LNG will be globally competitive.
When GDF Suez thinks about this challenge, how to build power plants, what to build, there's four things we think about. Economic growth, and you all have your opinion about GDP growth in the United States. Renewables, how much of a subsidy will renewables get from the government? What fuel are we going to use? And by and large, that's natural gas. And then technology. And this is the one where I spend most of my time right now, is trying to figure out what the leading technology is going to be, such that I know what the GDP growth and what the power demand growth is going to be. But when Chris asked us the question, which plant do you think will get built? I'll tell you, in a $4 gas world, all day, every day, it's probably going to be a natural gas-fired combined cycle unit. We've got a lifetime on that supply of natural gas. It's there. It's in Mount Marcellus. It's in the Eagle Ford. It definitely is there. It's inexpensive. It's a cheap fuel source. We can move it through pipelines. Just occasionally we have to turn those things backwards and flow it from Marcellus back to Texas. It's kind of strange, but occasionally we have to do that. This is the question that I want to leave for you guys. How rapidly do you think a customer-driven or customer-centric energy solution like a smart meter, like a net meter for a on-site PV panel can take hold? And I'll tell you guys, you're probably going to guess wrong. You can deploy a roof-mounted PV panel with a net meter in a decent scale in 6 months. I don't expect that you guys have energy technology in your houses or in your apartments where you'll have an online system where you can check your usage. I do. That wasn't possible 2 years ago. And because of that fact, I now cycle my pool, I cycle the game room differently than I do the rest of the house. And that small demand change that I make, when extrapolated through 250 people, extrapolated through 250 million people, what could happen if we have massive deployments of demand-side resources, massive energy efficiency gains, massive solar? This chart could turn negative. When negative demand growth happens, US share prices go down.